Hello and welcome to another episode of TRG Talk Digital. Today I have as my guest Dr. Mason Cobb. He's the chairman of Golden Sunrise Senior Life. Welcome, Mason.
It's good to be here, Rick. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Now, we've known each other for a while, decades.
Decades.
This Golden Sunrise Senior Life is something new to me.
Yes.
Weren't you doing something before that?
Sure. I was the one of the founders of Columbia, which became Columbia Asia. And from 2003 on, I was the chairman and a founder of Victoria Healthcare. I retired from that about a year and a half ago. And before that, I had a career as a pediatric surgeon in the USA, which was also very fulfilling.
So you've been a doctor, you came to Vietnam, you set up 2 healthcare/hospitals, and now tell me more about this Golden Sunrise Senior Life. This is new to me.
Well, it's first, when you talk about senior living or senior care in Vietnam, as it is today, you think, oh, that's a place when you can't live at home and you're totally decrepit and you can't take care of your hygiene and you don't know your name anymore. That's a place where we put you. We basically warehouse you until you die. And I don't think that's the right way to look at old age. I think that, well, as someone said, you should embrace old age. I mean, good heavens, you got here. Not everybody has been so fortunate as to get to be a senior. And as they say, the secret is to die young at a very old age. And the question then is, how do you keep that youth and that vibrancy? And part of that is the community that you live in. The modern family in Vietnam, and there have been several research studies on that. We think, well, for 4,000 years, you just live in a multi-generational home. And when you get old, you're kind of like the Buddha figure on the altar, and you sit there and people revere you, and then you die. And then they put up your picture on the altar. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. And in fact, these days, it's not that way. One thing, Vietnam is becoming more urbanized. More seniors are now living an urban life than ever before, and that trend is continuing. Moreover, Vietnam, this is an astounding statistic. Vietnam is the most rapidly aging country in the world. Really? We're not the oldest country, but our velocity of aging is incredible. And by 2030, we will have 14% of the population over 65 years old. That compares to the U.S., a developed country, with where it's only about 16%. And an aging population in this century now means a country which is getting older. The other thing is that the urban lifestyle and also how that impacts seniors individually is very different than living in the same village for hundreds, if not thousands of years. First, the family is much smaller, if at all. Right now, young Vietnamese are either not getting married, they're marrying later, or they're getting married and not having children. In fact, right now, this population will not be able to sustain itself at the current birth rates. And what does that mean to seniors? Well, also 86% of women work. That includes urban women. So the average family now in the middle class, managerial class, if you will, are living in a high-rise somewhere. Their parent is sitting home all day without a whole lot to do, And the question is, where is the meaning in life for that? And if you look at worldwide, as the population is aging, there's more and more study being done of what does it mean to grow old. It used to be we thought of growing old as like a flower. When you're a child, you're a little bud. When you're 20, 30 years old, you're this beautiful, blooming, dynamic flower. And then slowly, as time goes on, you wilt away, and pretty soon you're just a dried old something that drops off and it's gone. And even our medical system as it is, as beautiful, as strong as it is right now, will still say, well, you're getting old. Of course you have high blood pressure. Of course you have diabetes. Well, doctor, can I go to the gym? Oh, no, you're too old. You may break a bone. Wrong. That is not how it is. And if you look at what really keeps people young and keeps them healthy, two things are there are many things very important. But first, embrace old age. You're fortunate to be old. The other, laugh a lot. And how do you laugh? I don't know about you, but I don't sit home and laugh. I laugh when I'm with other people, when I'm doing things, when I'm with family, perhaps. So those relationships are important, much more so than staying home all day. And one of the things that even the government of Vietnam, I think looking over the fence, or I should say the strait at Singapore, is seeing is that the population will get older. And as the population gets older, it is less expensive, if you get really hard-headed about it, to have a bunch of healthy seniors than to have a bunch of sick seniors. And part of that is to give that sense of community. And one of the things that we will do is we will have community centers. And any senior can go there. I think even if you're not quite a senior, if you're, for example, let me think of a number, 63 years old, you could go there. And what will you do there? We will have people who work with you for those things that you like. There will be some type of restaurant, some sort of coffee area that you can just sit down and have coffee, much the way we would to just be friends or to talk about things that are relevant to us. Also, part of it is how to ignite your passion. What have you done in the past that you miss? And what can you do to connect even more firmly with your family? A friend of mine who I think she is the poster child, or the poster grandma of successful aging. She was 65. She retired from a very responsible position with the United Nations. She had won awards from USAID, but she was 65 and she just went to live with her son. And she just sat there, and then her back hurt, and then she just didn't feel good. And somewhere along the line, we began to talk, and then we began to walk, just walking outdoors. And from there, she eventually got a trainer, and she also got helpful hints on how to eat healthy as a senior. And she even wrote a recipe book on how to make healthy eating taste good. And now she's 70 years old. She lives independently. She's back doing charities, starting organizations, working with people, and really enjoying life. And I think that's accessible to any senior. And we want to be able to stimulate that in our community centers. What did you do that you would like to do? And in addition to the community center, we will have residential units. And you have the option then of actually living in a serviced apartment. You have someone to take care of your needs, do your laundry, wash the dishes, clean the house. And your time then can be spent pursuing the things that you want to pursue, and getting along, spending time with the people you want to spend time with. For instance, the person I was just referring to, most weekends her grandchildren come over and stay with her in her apartment, and they just do fun grandma-grandchild things. So the important thing to remember is that besides being old is a blessing, embrace it, is that you can have the life that you want to have, and you can live and you can spend your time in a place that's very fulfilling, very rewarding, and live the best life that you can as long as you can.
Wow.
Sorry, I guess you're still awake.
No. Thank you for sharing. I mean, what you've really shared is, it gave us the backdrop of what's happening in Vietnam. It's going to be an aging population. It's already picking up speed. So you've already identified the trend and the inevitable conclusion.
Yes.
So what's your vision for what the future should be for senior people in Vietnam?
I think there are a couple of answers to that. One is my background is in medicine, and when you get down to medicine, you have a chronic battle. Well, I shouldn't say battle. It's a little strong, but you have a difference of perspective between the white coats, the doctors, the nurses, those who really deliver the care, and the suits, the ones who figure out how to keep the lights on so you can deliver the care. The viewpoints are really quite different. I've been on both sides of that. And the one side is how do we present the best life possible? How do we give the best life possible to seniors in Vietnam, or for that matter, anywhere in the world which has developed? We are going to have a population decline because people aren't having babies. We're all going to be a little bit like China with a rapidly aging population, and as in Japan, some difficulties in just finding people to go to work. And so what are we going to do with that? The other issue is the economics of it. What does that mean to the country? One is you're going to have a lot of seniors, and in the best case possible, seniors are going to use a lot more health care than a 20-year-old athlete. And so how are you going to provide for that the best? And that's easy. Keep them healthy. The other is, what does it mean? For instance, I look in my closet now, and I look in my closet when I was 35. And when I was 35, a few times a year, I'd go out and buy a shirt or get a suit. Now my closet, everything's 20 years old, but, no moth holes. So, so I'm not buying as much. I'm not purchasing. I have the things that I need. What does that mean in a world where we measure how successful a country is by how rapidly they're growing? And it's kind of like we'll have to get all new metrics for what a stable economy looks like when the demand is in the future, or going forward, I should say, not what it is at this very moment.
Okay. Now, Golden Sunrise Senior Life. So the idea or the concept is to build these communities. Is this a new idea in this country?
There are several places that have the concept and are doing it. In particular, there's one in Hanoi, which is doing a very good job. There are two problems. One is that there have been some, like there was one in Da Nang, which looked like it was going to be successful, but there was a little chicanery somewhere around along the line, and money was taken from that to do other ventures in the conglomerate business, and so it didn't work. The other thing is that there are quite a few places around Ho Chi Minh City, around Saigon. I shouldn't say quite a few. There are a few. Absolutely not enough to meet the need. And they would be what I would call basic. That is, yeah, they're good places to go, and seniors are treated okay there. But I don't see them as vibrant. I don't find the places where they live is really exciting. Like at my age, could I live in a place like that and have maids and cooks? Yeah, I would love that. But do I want to be in a dorm room with 5 other older people? No. And so it turns out that one of our partners, in fact, the guy that really got me started on this, is a guy by the name of Michael Lai, who's a Viet Q. He's a very interesting guy. He was a boat person when he was 14. And he, at one time, after several refugee camps, he ended up in Seattle, Washington, USA. He was, when he was in high school, he was a janitor at a commercial building. And he said, darn it, someday I'm going to own this building. And he does. He's become an outstanding entrepreneur, actually in commercial real estate. One of the things that he got very involved in, because he didn't want to just build palaces for somebody, he wanted to build in a way that was helpful to people generally, or helpful to the society, if you will. And so far, he's built 4 senior living facilities, and I visited them, and they're run beautifully. And they do fulfill the needs of the seniors. And that would be our goal, is to work on that. And it turns out that we see the people who can come to us. The people who come for the day are obviously people who live locally or somewhat locally. The people who may move in could be either local people or they could be foreigners. And we want to have a standard that would work in the US, Australia, UK, France, wherever. And at the same time, be much more cost effective than the U.S. We said we weren't going to talk politics, but right now things are a little rocky in the U.S. Nobody knows. In the U.S., you have a personal retirement program of money that you and your employer put in, called a 401k, but that's still subject to the market. I mean, if things go the wrong way in the U.S. economically, your retirement isn't going to be worth very much. And also, when you're a senior, like I say, you can be involved, but you don't like a whole lot of upheaval going on around you. And right now, there's a whole lot of upheaval in the U.S., and you don't know where your retirement's going. Guess what? Golden Sunrise, our most expensive plan, is 1/2 to 1/3 the cheapest plan in the USA. So this becomes both stable, a wonderful place to be at a standard for the US or other so-called developed countries, but also very cost effective, and one that you can live many years. Within that, in the U.S., again, there are many things changing, but the lifestyle used to be that because about the northern half of the U.S. Has winters that are not necessarily friendly, the seniors would go to the southern climates that are more like this. So another option would be you come here for your winters, go back there for your summers, and so on. So it's kind of open to anybody. All you need to have is gray hair, whether or not you're coloring it.
Okay, Mason. I mean, you're a senior yourself. You've had a very successful career as a doctor, and you've now started this Golden Sunrise. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing what you're doing?
I guess the best answer is I just can't stop myself. Is that I'm actually quite happy that in some small way I was able to contribute to a high level of healthcare in this country at a time when this country needed a little higher level of healthcare. And I hate to sound arrogant or snobbish about that, but I do like to think that we contributed to the healthcare of the country. And I guess when I first came to Vietnam, it was that we Americans had somehow left something undone here. And it's not, well, let's have another war. It was, what can we do for this country? And fortunately, Vietnam, the government here was incredible, actually. After some pretty tough years of becoming unified, Vietnamese government actually spent more time, money, resources in finding missing in action American soldiers than they did their own. And one of our senators, Mr. John McCain, who had been a prisoner of war for several years, recognized how much Vietnam was doing to make life a little bit easier for those families who had fought here, albeit against what the current government was. And with his strong push, we normalized relations with Vietnam. And as they say, the rest is history. Well, along the way, I think Senator McCain in his heart, and probably everybody who wanted to normalize relations, felt there was something that we still had to give back to Vietnam. And I felt that way myself. And here I am now. I'm seeing that there's a need for seniors, and I want to do what I can to help with that need.
Okay. It's great that you're doing this. Okay, you can see the need. What do you like best about what you are doing?
There is an entrepreneur. He started PayPal. His name is Peter Thiel. And he said about being a guy who does startups, it's much easier, or it's much harder to go from 0 to 1 than 1 to 2 or any other number to any other number. And there's something that you feel good if you went from 0 to 1. You're entering something that you're giving something that needs to be done, but maybe in a way that hasn't been done before. And that if I do that, then when I close my eyes at the end of this trip, I can do it with a smile.
Nice. Now, I'm curious, how did you get started in being a doctor in the first place? I know this is going back 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, a little while. Well, it's at home. I have a model of a 1948 Jaguar XK120, and if I owned that car, by now I would have replaced the brakes I don't know how many times, the engine mounts I don't know how many times, the drivetrain, transmission, the engine, how many times. Well, I talk about living old and living healthy, but our parts wear out. And I ran into a time where my eyes were wearing out, and the job, the the career that I had was a pediatric surgeon operating on babies. I think the smallest weighed 475 grams. And frankly, it takes good eyesight. So when I realized my eyesight was going away before I hurt anybody, I left it. And of all things, I went to completely the other end of the age spectrum. I mean, I don't know anything about people in childhood, young adulthood, late adulthood, but it was little babies, many who shouldn't even be born yet, and old people who already have many years behind them. But it was called age management, which I took the courses and certified in it because I saw the need. I'd seen my own parents grow old, my grandparents before that. And even though I wasn't this age yet, I could see other people in their 70s and 80s that were deteriorating and didn't have to. Age management differs from so-called geriatrics or gerontology. Gerontology and geriatrics you might call medicine 2.0. And that's, we're so good at that. And that's, oh, you have high blood pressure. Take this medicine, and this medicine. It will cure your high blood pressure. Oh, your cholesterol's high. Take this medicine. Okay. And you've got type 2 diabetes, the kind that doesn't require insulin. Well, you take this medicine and suddenly you're good to go and you will improve and you will live a little longer. But how did it work? It's right now, if you go in, no matter what age you are, for a physical, your yearly checkup, what does the medicine 2.0 doctor do? He looks for what's wrong with you, and says, okay, I didn't find anything wrong. See you in a year. Have fun. Bye. And age management is different than that. Longevity medicine, so-called, is better than that. In fact, they even talk, I saw the word the other day, something like longevicologist. I think that's a made-up word. But it does say that now we don't just look at a flower wilting as being our lives. We say, what is it to grow old? What happens? Like we were talking earlier about working out. Well, medicine 2.0 might tell the doctor or might tell the patient, oh, don't go to the gym. You might break a bone. Your bones are getting brittle. Yeah, your bones, if you don't do anything, your bones will get brittle. Your muscles will undergo what we docs call sarcopenia. That is, you just keep doing what you're doing. Your muscles gradually get smaller. You get weaker. You get fragile. And you go to the gym and several things happen. One, you don't get sarcopenia. Two, your bones stay strong. Three, if you're a male, your testosterone levels stay up a little better. And four, this is impressive to me. There's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Now, it used to be that we said your brain doesn't make more neurons, whatever you have when you're 3 years old or 30 or whatever, you don't make new neurons. Guess what? You make new neurons. And even if you're not making new neurons, you're all the time making new connections. And for whatever reason, that physical resistance weightlifting is helpful, to say nothing of the importance of aerobic, so-called cardio activity to maintain a good heart and to fight inflammation. So we know some of the things about lifestyle that make you healthy and keep you healthy, and that we call medicine 3.0. So now you go to the doctor or under our guidance and also some of the clinics like Regenetics around town. And it's not just, well, you don't have pneumonia, and your heart doesn't sound too bad, so see you in a year. It's, well, you've got a body, I've got a body. anybody that's listening to this has a body. And it's not a question. Right now, I think most of us, are actually in pretty good health. I don't have anything right now myself that's especially hurting. I'm not gasping for breath or anything. But what does that mean? Does that mean do nothing? I don't think so. It means if we're really good doctors, medicine 3.0, let's test that body. How flexible are you? How much balance do you have? How strong are you? What is your cardiac conditioning? And from there, we would say, well, what do you need to do to get even healthier? Your cardio isn't the best for your heart right now. How do we build that? And so forth. And one of the backstories behind the curtain, not even behind the curtain, but part of what Golden Sunrise is looking at is, okay, you're here, you're older, we want you to be healthy. What does be healthy mean? And that's what are the ways that we can help you improve your lifestyle to stay healthy. And I almost hate to say this on the air, but if I put on my hard-headed business executive hat, it keeps you around as a client a lot longer if you live longer.
Okay.
So
it's sort of sounding that, this medicine 3, rather than focusing on fix what's broken, give you the magic pill, is to find out and pivot and build on what is working.
Yes, absolutely. That is a very good way to put it.
And this is a sort of a different mind shift about medicine, aging, and health.
Yes.
How new is this around the world?
Well, it's existed in some ways for a long time. For example, orthopedists, bone doctors who got into sports medicine were interested in how can I take this young, very healthy athlete and make him an even better athlete. And so it was there. And now some of the people who, in fact, even my son, who's quite interested in the whole topic of being healthy, would take a kind of an extreme position, and they say, hey, if the cavemen didn't do it and didn't eat it, I don't need it. And you think, well, they had their tribes, they had their families, they ate a lot of roots and berries, which are pretty healthy, and so on and so forth. So, but as far as looking at it as something that is the next generation of medicine, as we practice it, is probably sometime around the 1990s or 2000s. And the people who trained me are called Cenogenics. And they put a great deal of emphasis on lifestyle. Since they opened the door on this, now there are many, I guess you'd call them biohacks or biopharmaceuticals. Like if you get a strep throat, you have bacteria that are eating away at your throat. Medicine 2.0 says you can take Augmentin or some antibiotic. Guess what? Your body doesn't make Augmentin. Augmentin works fabulously well. It's going to stamp out your strep throat. You're not going to have more trouble. But if you talk about biopharmaceuticals, it's what does your body make, but maybe not enough of. For instance, as I get older, you get older, we make less stem cells, and our mitochondria, which are basically the battery packs of our cells, they get a little bit sluggish. And so there are biohacks that can speed up your stem cells. They can recharge your mitochondria. And within this field, there is kind of an argument like the extreme people are the so-called godfather of stem cells, who actually has one of his 40 worldwide wellness centers here. Is 65. He looks 45, and he says he doesn't do anything about his diet or exercise. He's just all the time pumping the biohacks. But also, he makes money off those biohacks, and there's a lot of money. It's like I walk into the local Nyatwuk Thai, and I pick up some Augmentin for my strep throat. It doesn't cost me very much. I walk into this guy's hospital clinic and say, hey, I'd like some stem cells. He'd say, okay, that'll be about $50,000. So the problem with this field right now, as I see it, is we're not stressing the lifestyle enough because it is too rewarding financially to give the biohacks. On the other hand, you're living this very healthy life, but you're getting a little older. Things are starting to wear out. Are the biohacks helpful? You bet they are. But it's a whole new way of looking at medicine. And so I think that's what it's about. And now it is gathering steam. And there are many people, or I should say companies as well as people, who are very interested, although some are interested in it more monetarily, others more mission-driven. And I guess by personality, I'm more with the ones who are mission-driven.
It sort of sounds like, okay, with medicine 2, it's this range of magical tablets that make you better. And with medicine 3, we've come up with some other magical tablets that will also help make you better. But isn't it the same thing?
It is and it isn't. I guess if you have someone, we talk about transitioning, and there may be medicine 2.0 doctors who are transitioning. Your knee-jerk reflex is, oh, this person could be improved in this way. Oh, I know, I've got some medicine for him. But instead of the old Nyatwuk Thai sorts of things, now I've got this very expensive biohack. One that comes to mind, for example, is NAD+. And I stumble over the words. It's about 2 pages long. But what it is first, your stem cells are produced by your bone marrow. Your stem cells then don't just go stick to your liver and hang out as a stem cell. Those stem cells go to any tissue in your body and gradually transform into that tissue. And NAD plus is one step along that pathway. And we do know that a person who is very fatigued, although you do have to say, why are they fatigued, who's very fatigued, who's maybe older, and you do some specialized biomarker tests and you find that their DNA is getting a little shaky, which is one of the things that happens in old age. And the NAD plus can repair that. Downstream, there's one you can even take by mouth called PMN, and so forth. And do they have a place? Yes, they have a place. But what do we know about NAD plus? First, it's going to cost you around $200, $300 to get one bag of this run into your vein over about a half an hour. But we also know that if you are already in relatively good shape due to your lifestyle, then the NAD plus doesn't do anything for you because you've already, charged up your mitochondria. You've already reversed some of your genetic damage. And so the NAD is just a way that somebody's making some money.
Okay. So again, what I'm understanding from this is, all right, when the sort of medicine 2 was, okay, take the pill and it'll fix that problem, and your body doesn't, can't produce that. Medicine 3 is with all these biohacks, okay, we've got a better pill, and it really is more attuned to what your body should be doing, and it's like boosting it, supplementing it, or even replacing it. However, on the backdrop of everything you've been saying is to say there's more than that. There's more than that. You don't necessarily have to have a pill. You've been talking about lifestyle, like just going to the gym. That's not a pill. That's something else. So are there lots of these other things which are not money making that really have an impact on longevity?
Absolutely, but you're talking to the choir on that. I'm more the advocate for the lifestyle, and there are many aspects to that. Actually, I'd say the big two, or we've already kind of touched on. One, embrace aging. What's your mindset? Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, my back hurts. That's not how you do it. And I think it was. Nobody listening to this even recognizes the name, but an actress in the 1940s in the movie Casablanca, Ingrid Bergman, as she got older, said, getting old is like climbing a mountain. It may leave you a little bit breathless, but the view is so outstanding. That's what your aging can be, and that's what you need to wrap your head around. The other is laugh a lot. And then you get into the particulars. Can I laugh a lot and smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and drink a quart of whiskey? Well, maybe if you're Winston Churchill, but not everybody is Winston Churchill. If anybody remembers that name.
Yeah.
So yes, it's like everything in life. Like if you try to cross the street and you see a bus coming, how fast is that bus coming and how far away is it? Maybe I can walk across the street. On the other hand, if it's 10 meters and it's going 50 kilometers an hour, the odds are that if I step out, I'm going to die. So every choice we make in life is some kind of assessment of odds, what's going to work the best. And if you get down to it, a healthy diet. And in particular, this is Cenogenics training, but Vietnam is, I don't want to say emerging because outside of our financial system, we're past emerging. We're a middle-income country. And what does that mean in medical terms? It means we're actually getting med schools that are good. It actually means we're training doctors which are good. And what do we know from med schools in the rest of the world? They publish. They study things, they publish them, everybody gets smarter. And one of the great studies from Vietnam is white rice consumption. And if you look at white rice consumption, the more you consume as you get older, the higher your risk of type 2 diabetes, which is now almost a pandemic in Vietnam. So many people are getting type 2 diabetes, white rice, or any unrefined sugar. Like if you read the literature from the West, they say, don't drink Coca-Cola, and it's got unrefined sugar in it. Well, you measure what that does to your body by the so-called glycemic index. That is, how much glucose do you have that goes straight to your liver and then goes from there straight into fat. And white rice actually has a higher glycemic index than Coca-Cola, which is all sugar. So, I'm not going to go into my friend's recipe book for what do you do about that, but eat less white rice and in general eat less carbohydrates that are refined. And the simple rule, if it's white, don't bite. And also you stay away from processed foods, stay away from a lot of foods that have so-called trans fats in them, which are cheap. I'm not going to get into seed oil and that kind of thing, but in general, first, the Vietnamese diet potentially is one of the healthiest in the world, beside the Mediterranean diet and the Okinawa diet. Why? Lots of fruits and vegetables, all kinds of herbs that are actually very good for you. The meat is there, but it's often kind of a sidelight. And all of this is very healthy. What are things that can be improved? One, less white rice and less rice noodles. Two, less salt, because if I'm having shellfish, I'm going to eat it by dipping it in salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Shouldn't do that. And the other is a lot of things are deep fried. And if you can, getting a so-called air fryer is the best. Next best is choose your cooking oil carefully. That's going to be the best for you. And that's usually a nut oil of some kind. Again, I'm not going to dwell on that. So you can eat healthy. And we've already talked about exercise and what Med 2.0 doctors say and what we say. But as you grow older, there are pretty much 5 components that you need to look at for your exercise. One we talked about is resistance training. Now, for women, traditionally, they don't so much like the resistance training because they don't want themselves to look like Vin Diesel or somebody. And so, but the truth is, they're never going to look like Vin Diesel, but they are, again, because, well, another fact is that 2/3 of Vietnamese women who are over 55 years old have osteoporosis. That is, the calcium is leaking out of their bones. Their bones are becoming like dry twigs. One fall, they've got a broken bone. And why is that? One, they don't eat a lot of calcium. The Western diet, or my Northern European traditional diet, there's a lot of dairy, which has a lot of calcium. And if you're eating a lot of seafood, in fact, you get a lot of calcium. But what's the key with most Vietnamese, but in particular the women? Total allergy to sunshine. What does sunshine do? It gives you vitamin D. Sunshine, your body converts it to this vitamin D, which is needed to pack it back into your bones. So resistance training, and if you're, I don't want to get into the whole topic of supplements, but if you're an older Vietnamese, especially a woman, for pity's sake, take your vitamin D. And, well, the other things we've also talked about, a sense of purpose in your life, a good community relationship, your relationships with family, friends, all of those things are very important. And laughing.
So, Mason, what makes you smile?
Life.
Life.
And it's very rare, I think, for any of us to just sit at home alone and laugh. Maybe you have a favorite movie that you're in the theater and laughed so hard you fell out of your chair. Maybe then you get kind of a laugh again. But in general, we have laughs when we're with other people. You tell me a joke, you tell me a funny story, and we both have a laugh. And so that's kind of part of the relationships. Relationships, well, we've all seen those pictures. It's not like the Gen Zs, the young kids. You have 7 of them in a coffee shop, all just texting, not talking to each other. That's not what it's about. But if they're talking to each other, they're going to be laughing. And one of the things that I love about Vietnamese culture is when Vietnamese are sitting together and they are talking to each other, sooner or later something's pretty funny. And so you got a leg up on a lot of the rest of the world.
Okay. So, Mason, what's the most unusual experience that you've ever had in business?
Oh. Well, you know about startups and you know about business. Is you never walked in one day of business and didn't find something that was some kind of a challenge. Oh yeah, this happened before, but this part of it's different. And I think it's making some of the deals with some of the people that you both need a business relationship with, but also you like a personal relationship. In the West, we do divide transactional. What do I do for business from personal? I think in Vietnam, there's not really that separation. So if I'm not doing business with you, maybe it means I don't like you. Or if I am going to do business with you, it means we should like each other. And I think just that fact of wanting to do business and liking the people that you do business with.
So Mason, if you could be remembered for only one thing, what would it be?
Giving one very, very tiny hand to the growth of this country, which you've done and which many others have done, but that I've done something good for this country. And also, at least in times past, I've done good things for my own country.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I know we're coming to the end now. How can our listeners find you online?
Oh, well, in general, you have about 20 steps to go through plus a robot before you meet anybody. But I still have that old surgical knee-jerk reflex of if you call me, I answer the phone. And my Vietnamese number is +84 913 912 154. I may not recognize your number, so it would be better to text me. WhatsApp is my preferred, but I'm also available, I think, at that number on Zalo and also Viber. If for some reason you're listening to this from somewhere where it's easier to call the USA, my number is +1 206 819 0769, and that phone remains on all the time, although I'm getting spam calls all night long.
Oh dear. Now, what about Golden Sunrise Senior Life? Is it up and running yet?
We're still in the process. We have 2 sites that we're looking at. We have our team together. We have a German who's worked for 20 years in senior care who will be helping us train and manage. We have what has been called occupational therapists. I like to call them life specialists who will work with people to find the things that are fun to do. Like, gee, I came to the community center today and I don't know what to do. Well, let's try this. And for longer term, you like gardening. Let's go out to our space where we can do a little gardening. And we'll have other care workers and also people. We'll have trainers, yoga instructors available, because if you're not totally bedridden, those things are still part of your life, should be part of your life. And we're putting that team together. We're right now negotiating our sites. And then from there, we can be up and running. I'm estimating about 6 months.
Wow.
And I don't want to sound like one of those real excited voices that you hear in the ads here, but it's kind of, I think that this will be a great benefit to many people. And we're very happy to hear from you now. First, what can we tell you about old age? And second, what can we tell you about what we do, what we plan, what is our philosophy, and so forth. And third, maybe sign up while you can become a member of our community at a little bit cheaper rate and before those places are gone.
Well, thank you very much, Mason. It's the end of this week's episode. Thank you for joining us. Our guest today has been Dr. Mason Cobb, the chairman of Golden Sunrise Senior Life. It'll be alive, a new vibrant community, probably by the end of this year.
I hope so.
If you're interested, please reach out, and all the details will be in the show notes. So thank you very much, Mason. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Rick. I really am honored that you would ask me to come and that you stayed awake while I talked.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.